What is going on? So I'm actually in the shop today on my day off, and there's a couple things I want to show you guys and share with you while I am here. All right, so I'm about to do a formalin bath because we're doing a tank transfer on these Borbonius, a Tamini tang, 2 target mandarins, a Valentini puffer, long nose butterfly, and a Naoki wrasse. They're gonna get their formalin bath now. Bath time is up. They are ready to go into their quarantine tanks. We did a formalin bath on them for 30 minutes. Our new fish systems are being set up right now. So these will be conditioned fish. These will not be full quarantine fish. But we still are gonna do a special treatment on them, a little experimental treatment, which I think is gonna do really well with dealing with fish disease and fish parasites. I will go over that in another video, but yeah, it's groundbreaking stuff that we're gonna be doing on these tanks. But again, these aren't gonna be fully quarantined. These are just conditioned fish. Our quarantine systems are more in the back. But we are filling these up, so we're gonna be able to have a lot more fish for the casual people that either want to quarantine them on themselves, or they want to, you know, they're either quarantine themselves or they're okay with just buying conditioned fish and don't want to do the full quarantine route, which we highly recommend the quarantine route. And I am in the process of doing a water change on the seahorse tank because little buddy got an infection, which is quite common in seahorses. You can see his little belly there. And there's another one in this tank too that's not doing too good. So we are going to not only do a little water change so we can add more meds to get them all healed up, which this one is definitely, it was really sick. It was floating at the top of the tank when he first came in. A couple of days of these meds and he's been doing much better. Hopefully that sore can heal up in time. Got our pills ready. And obviously we can't put the pill in there, so we pop the pill open and put the powder, the ingredients inside. Then we're just gonna pour this in with the seahorses, and hopefully the seahorse will continue to get well. Woo, look at little Harlequin shrimp, little buddy over here. He caught himself an Asterina star that was climbing on the tank, trying to get away from him. As you guys know, the Harlequin shrimp does eat starfish, and they're usually used in aquariums to get rid of these specific starfish, these little white starfish. And this little guy rips through these starfish quickly. We have them quarantined here in a 10-gallon tank really fast. And so we constantly have to, you know, if we go to a customer's house that has these, we'll pick them off and we'll put them in the tank to feed them, keep them happy. But man, he must be hungry because they all climbed up to the top and he is chasing them. Next up, we had some fish in this 75-gallon tank, which I'm going to go ahead and sanitize, clean really good, because in about, I think next week, about 4 or 5 days, these guys need to be tank transferred, which means this tank needs to be cleaned out, sterilized, and then set back up and ready for them. Next up, we have to dose medications to the aquariums. In this round of treatment, we are using Formalin. So I got my measurements. Got everything ready to go. And open up this little top here. And there we go. Just like that, that easy. I got my really cool looking safety goggles on. I know I look pretty badass. Now we're done with that. So all these tanks have to get formalin. So that means, you know, all these beautiful Antheas. I love that male right there. He's a gorgeous looking male. This one, this purple, is insane. So all these tanks have to get formalin because they were only on their week 1 of their medications. Unlike these down here, which are actually on observation. So we're gonna keep an eye on them and then they'll be ready to sell pretty soon. If you notice in the bottom of the tank, there is some kind of gunk there, some fish waste and some leftover food. I'm gonna net that out next. But everybody's gonna get their formalin today, along with some other meds that will be put into their food. And speaking of food, these monos are always ready to eat. Like, it's just not a day goes by that these things are just like, there's just not a second that goes by where these things aren't just looking to eat. They're like little piranhas. It's crazy. All right, so there's a fish in this tank right here that I want to show you guys, but it is like really elusive, but I'm gonna try to sneak up on it. Forgive my bad camera angle. That one right there. That guy, that little purple one. That is a lavender firefish. You do not see these in the hobby. You do not see these in fish stores often. Look at how pretty that fish is. Kind of have to sneak up on it because it hides. Really cool fish. I would love to see this fish in something in like a 40, nothing bigger than a 75-gallon aquarium, a 100-gallon aquarium, just because they do like to hide. In a fish this pretty, which costs what this fish costs, you want to be able to enjoy it and see it. So I would suggest an open scape and a tank small enough to where it can feel safe and where it can be out and you can enjoy it, because they do like to hide, but that is a really pretty fish. Speaking of fish that are really awesome and that I would love to have in my aquarium one day when I get a big enough tank, this Naoki fairy wrasse, oh my God. Now this one is sold, and the customer, as soon as they came in, they saw the color on this thing and they were really excited. Look at that red with that yellow. Oh, such a pretty fish. Now wrasse can be tricky because a lot of times when they're caught, they're not really caught properly. I know a lot of people catch them and they're a bit rough with them, or they use chemicals like a cyanide or something like that to slow them down to catch them. So a lot of times a wrasse can do well for a little bit, but then inexplicably dies, or it like kind of loses the ability to swim. That's got nothing to do a lot of times with the fish store. That's just the way that they've been caught. This guy's been with us now for about going on 2 weeks, and it's looking pretty good and eating well. Then we can talk about this Swiss Guard Basilisk. Oh, hiding of course. And then we have this little pygmy rooster fish, which is basically, I think it's a type of scorpion fish, and I know that they're very venomous. I know that's a venomous fish. Somebody specifically wanted that fish. We special ordered it. It's not something that we usually carry. But they do like to hide, which makes, like, when I have a customer that has one in their tank, that little red fish right there by the bottom of the sponge right there. I have a customer that has one of these in their tank, and I have to be very mindful when I'm putting my hands in the tank because I do not want to get stung by that thing. And then you can see the Swiss basslet right there. Really pretty fish. That is a nice looking addition to anybody's aquarium. Again, I would suggest a smaller aquarium, just because like you're gonna spend a decent amount of money on that, and it's got great color. I'd want to enjoy it, and not have something too incredibly big. And of course the Royal Grandma up front and center. Now, for anyone asking or wondering how our Bergie and Nudibranch breeding is going, we got some big old Bergies right there. It is going good. We got some eggs being laid all over the place, like all over this little 10-gallon tank. And honestly, it's become quite tricky because we cannot keep enough aptasia in this tank. They are just mowing them down as soon as we put them in. Got this beautiful blonde naso tang in, and it's been doing really good. It's becoming less shy. I just put some food into the tank, but it's becoming way less shy. It's starting to respond to feedings. It's starting to respond better to us, thinking that we're more of a food source and less of a predatory response. But that thing is gorgeous. I think it's like 5-6 inches long if you exclude the streamers. And it's going to a really awesome aquarium. Wait till you guys see this tank that this thing is going to go. I'm gonna definitely do a video about it. It's like, I think it's about 300-gallon tank. Unbelievable system. I cannot wait to put this fish in there and add it to the other ones that are already in there. Oh, by the way, I'm just cleaning out the sponges from the coral tanks. Look at this. My God, look at all the gunk in there. How much to drink that? Next, we have this beautiful display tank that we picked up just recently from a customer who wanted to get out of the hobby. It is staying here with us for the time being. We are going to eventually sell the tank and then probably frag up these corals and take them into quarantine. But in the meantime, I am going to feed them some food. And now my thought process with feeding corals is I tried to feed them at the same time every single time I feed them. So say 4 o'clock, every time I feed at 4 o'clock. I feed corals like this, like a pectinia or like an acan or something like that, maybe 2 times a week. I try not to go more than that. Try to say about that, and then I always try to do it around the same time. And if you do that, if you get these corals, if you feed at the same time, every feeding, eventually they will be expecting food and they'll be more receptive to it. Their little polyps will come out, which is what I'm trying to train these guys to end up doing. Every day at the same time, I'm just gonna spray some food on them, and eventually they know they're gonna eat and they're gonna get fed, and they'll have a better feeding response. But this pectinia is looking freaking amazing. It's nice and fleshy. Look at this. Look at this part right here. Watch when I do this. Watch. Look at that. It looks hard, but it's fleshy. And that's what you want from your LPS corals. You want very fleshy, not tight to the skeleton. We are already getting a nice feeding response to this trumpet coral. And this trumpet coral is pretty bleached out. I think if we feed it and it's in good tank conditions, it's gonna get better color on it. It won't look so pale. So I'm gonna continue to feed this guy 2 times a week, and hopefully we can start to see some really good color on it. So got this tank set up. It was sterilized. I cleaned it out really well, got it up and running so that these guys in the next couple days can get tank transferred into here. Everything's looking pretty good. All the fish are happy. Got the lights off. I am wrapping up now. We did everything we needed to do today. And you know, spend my day off here taking care of the fish, but that is all good because I just don't do this job. I love the hobby, so it's always fun to come in and take care of the fish, look at the coral, and talk to customers. Pretty soon we'll have this all hooked up and ready to go, and I'll share that with you guys in a later video, but I'm really excited. Things are looking good around here. I'm trying to get hyped up for the holiday season and have plenty in stock for customers. That's our goal, that's our plan. So thank you guys so much for watching, but man, my day doesn't end. I gotta go to another customer's house. They're having a problem with their tank. I'm gonna run there real quick, and then hopefully I can enjoy the rest of my weekend. But thank you guys so much for watching and coming along with me for a day at the shop. I'll see you next time.